The difference between poverty and prosperity is not a paycheck, it's philosophy. Poverty is a mindset. Wealth is a decision. You can hand two people the same income and the same opportunities and watch one rise to abundance while the other stays broke. Why? Because one decided to act and plan like wealth was inevitable, and the other decided to settle. So today, I'm going to give you the financial rules that can transform ordinary lives into extraordinary ones. You'll learn how to stop chasing money and start attracting it, how to make your income work harder than you do, and how to multiply your results over time. Because when you change your philosophy, your future has no choice but to follow. Let me tell you something most people miss. It's not the money you make, it's the money you keep. You can earn a small fortune every month, but if you let it flow out as fast as it comes in, you'll be right back where you started. I've met people making 6 figures a year who are flat broke because their spending kept pace with their earnings. And I've met others with modest incomes who became wealthy simply because they understood discipline. Money is like water. Without a container, it slips through your fingers. That container is your philosophy, the set of rules you live by when it comes to saving and investing. I remember in my early years, I was earning more than I'd ever dreamed of, yet somehow, at the end of each month, there was nothing left. I'd upgraded my car, my wardrobe, my apartment, thinking I was moving forward, but in truth, I was just getting better at looking rich instead of becoming rich. One day, I realized I wasn't building wealth, I was building a lifestyle that owned me. That's when I decided, before I upgrade my lifestyle, I will upgrade my bank account. Lifestyle inflation is sneaky. You think, I work hard, I deserve this. And yes, you do deserve good things. But if you give in too soon, you rob your future self of freedom. The moment you start making more, your first move should be to capture that increase, not spend it. Take a percentage off the top and put it to work in investments that grow, multiply, and pay you back. Now, here's the key. Discipline isn't about denying yourself. It's about deciding what matters more. Would you rather have fleeting pleasures today or lasting security tomorrow? Imagine if every time you got a raise, instead of spending it, you saved or invested at least half. In 5 years, you could have a down payment for property. In 10 years, you could have assets producing passive income. That's how fortunes are built. Not in sudden leaps, but in steady, deliberate steps. The real test comes when temptation knocks. A shiny new gadget, a better car, a bigger house, these things will always call your name. But remember, every dollar you spend today is a soldier you take out of the war for your financial freedom. Your goal is to send those soldiers into battle, into investments, into businesses, into opportunities, where they can recruit more soldiers for you. Start with a simple rule. Pay yourself first. Before you pay the bills, before you buy the extras, take a portion, 20%, 30%, whatever you can, and set it aside for saving and investing. Make it automatic so discipline doesn't depend on willpower. The less you have to think about it, the more consistent you'll be. And here's a little mental trick I use. Whenever I get the urge to spend, I ask, will this bring me closer to freedom or further from it? That question alone has saved me thousands over the years. Wealth is not a function of income alone. It's a function of retention, growth, and discipline. You can't out-earn bad habits, but you can build wealth with even a modest income if you protect what you earn and make it work for you. The money you keep is the seed. The investments you plant with it are the soil. Time is the sunlight. And your discipline, that's the water. Without it, nothing grows. If you learn to master the art of keeping more than you spend and investing more than you consume, you won't just make money, you'll build a machine that makes money for you long after you've stopped working. And that, my friends, is when you begin to live not by the size of your paycheck, but by the freedom your wealth provides. I want to share with you something that changed the course of my life. The power of constantly feeding your mind with knowledge, especially about money. You see, formal education is important. It teaches you how to earn a living, how to work within the system, and how to survive. But there's something far greater that you must understand if you want to build lasting wealth and freedom: self-education. Self-education is what turns a paycheck into a fortune. It's what separates those who merely get by from those who build legacies. I remember a time when I was struggling financially. I had a job, but the income was modest and the expenses kept piling up. What made the difference for me wasn't getting a higher paying job or a sudden windfall. It was deciding to take responsibility for my own financial education. I made a commitment to read one personal finance book every month. And more importantly, I didn't just read. I applied at least one idea from that book immediately. That simple act set in motion a transformation in how I thought about money and what I did with it. Each book added a new layer of understanding. One taught me the importance of living below my means, not just as a theory, but as a habit. Another introduced me to the magic of compound interest, how even small investments could grow into something substantial over time. I read about the power of budgeting, the dangers of debt, and the strategies wealthy people use to protect and grow their assets. But the key wasn't just knowledge for knowledge's sake. The key was applying that knowledge consistently. Self-education about money isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about mindset. It's about recognizing that wealth isn't a lottery ticket or a lucky break. Wealth is created through wise decisions, through understanding how money flows, and through mastering the principles that govern it. When you make a habit of learning every month, you're constantly expanding your awareness of opportunities that others miss. You begin to see the difference between an expense and an investment. You learn how to make your money work for you rather than working for money. One of the most powerful lessons I learned was that money grows in the soil of continuous learning. Just like a farmer tends his crops day by day, watering and nurturing the soil, you must tend your financial knowledge daily. Without this ongoing effort, even the best opportunities can wither away from neglect. When you commit to learning, you develop the discipline to save, to invest wisely, and to avoid financial traps that catch many by surprise. This commitment to self-education about money naturally extends to learning about people and opportunity as well. Understanding human behavior, psychology, and relationships is just as important as understanding numbers. The ability to connect with others, to communicate, to negotiate, and to recognize good opportunities as they arise will multiply your chances of success. Never stop learning about people, because business and wealth creation are fundamentally about relationships. There was a time when I encountered someone who was wealthy, not because they made huge sums of money, but because they understood the value of continuous learning. This individual would spend hours every week reading, listening to mentors, attending seminars, and applying what they learned. Their wealth wasn't built overnight, but brick by brick, idea by idea. They didn't have the advantage of an inheritance or a high-powered background, just a persistent hunger for knowledge. When I share this with you, it's not to say that you need to become an expert overnight. The key is to take small, consistent steps. One book a month, one principle applied, one conversation about money. These add up. The consistency builds confidence and expands your thinking. And confidence is what will carry you through the challenges that come with any journey toward financial freedom. Let me also remind you that your financial education is your greatest asset. No one can take it from you. It grows over time, compounds like interest, and once acquired, it opens doors that money alone cannot. It empowers you to create multiple streams of income, to spot opportunities others overlook, and to avoid pitfalls that can trap the uneducated. Many people wait for the perfect time or for someone else to teach them, but the truth is, the perfect time is now. There are countless resources at your fingertips: books, podcasts, courses, mentors, waiting for you to take that first step. Don't let the fear of not knowing everything stop you from starting. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and that step is learning. I challenge you to make a decision today to become a lifelong student of money, people, and opportunity. Make it your habit to read one personal finance book every month. More importantly, commit to applying at least one idea from each book. Let your mind grow richer every day, and watch how your financial life follows suit. Remember, wealth is not something that just happens to you. It is something you build with the power of knowledge and consistent action. The more you learn, the more your choices improve. And the better your choices, the closer you get to the financial freedom you desire. Wealth grows in the soil of continuous self-education. So nourish your mind and your future will flourish. Let me share with you a truth that many learn too late: that wages will make you a living, but profits have the power to make you wealthy. When I first started out, I thought the goal was to earn a paycheck, to get a steady income, and to climb the ladder of a job or career. That seemed safe, predictable, and responsible. But as I gained experience and wisdom, I realized something deeper. Living paycheck to paycheck keeps you working for money your entire life. But creating profit, that is, building something that generates income beyond your direct labor, is what unlocks true financial freedom. Think about it this way. Wages pay for your time. Every hour you work, you earn money for those hours. There is a clear limit to this. You can only work so many hours in a day, and once you stop, the money stops coming in. It's a trade of your life energy for money, and it's a cycle many find themselves trapped in. Wages may provide security for the moment, but they rarely build wealth on their own. Now, profits. Profits come from owning something that produces income without your constant involvement. It might be a business, investments, royalties, or rental properties. The key is that these profits continue flowing even when you're not actively working. This is the fundamental difference between being employed and being truly wealthy. Wealth is built on systems and assets that work for you around the clock. I recall when I first realized this truth. I had a good job and steady income, but I was living paycheck to paycheck. Then I started exploring the idea of building something that could generate profit, something that didn't depend solely on my time. I began with small ventures, small investments, and even turning my knowledge into products that could sell without me being present. Each time I created a new stream of profit, I inched closer to freedom. This principle changed how I viewed work entirely. It's not about how hard you work or how many hours you put in. It's about how smart you work, building and owning things that generate income independently. Imagine waking up in the morning and knowing that your money is already working for you, bringing in profit even as you sleep or spend time with your family. That's the essence of true wealth. Building profit streams requires vision and effort up front. It's not magic. It's discipline, planning, and persistence. I've seen countless people get caught in the trap of trading time for money, thinking that a higher wage will solve their problems. But without developing profit-generating assets, a higher wage simply means more money spent on lifestyle inflation rather than wealth building. One practical step I took was to invest in myself first. My skills, my knowledge, my ability to create value. Then I applied that knowledge to start ventures that could earn beyond my hours. For example, writing books or creating seminars that could sell repeatedly, or starting businesses where others could help run the day-to-day operations while I focused on growth. Each of these created profits that weren't tied to my immediate labor. You don't have to be a business tycoon to apply this idea. Even small steps count. Owning a rental property, creating an online product, or investing in dividend-paying stocks can begin your journey to profit. The goal is to shift your mindset from earning money only by working to creating money that works for you. Here's something else I've learned. Profits also give you freedom to take risks, to explore opportunities, and to grow. When your income is tied only to wages, taking a risk like starting a new business or investing can feel terrifying. But when you have profits flowing in, you have a cushion, a safety net, that lets you step boldly forward. Remember, wages might provide comfort today, but profits build security for tomorrow and legacy for the future. Profits allow you to choose how to spend your time, not be bound by it. That's why I encourage you to think beyond your paycheck. Ask yourself, what can I build today that will keep paying me tomorrow? How can I create value that earns profit even when I'm not working? This shift from wages to profits is the gateway to financial independence. It transforms work from a daily grind into a source of ongoing opportunity. It's how you build a life where money serves you, instead of you serving money. The road isn't always easy, but it's worth it. I speak from experience when I say that building profit-generating assets gives you control, freedom, and peace of mind. It allows you to live on your terms and invest in what truly matters. So, focus on profits, not just wages. Build something that pays you, whether you're working or not. And in doing so, you'll find the key to unlocking lasting wealth and true freedom. Let me tell you something that too many people overlook. It's not enough to start rich. The real challenge is to finish rich. Many chase after quick wins, big paychecks, or sudden gains, thinking that's the goal. But true financial success isn't about where you begin, it's about where you end up. It's about protecting, diversifying, and managing your wealth, so it lasts a lifetime and even beyond. I remember early in my life when I saw people come into money fast. Lottery winners, successful entrepreneurs, or those who suddenly inherited wealth. I watched many of them lose it just as quickly because they didn't have a plan to protect what they had. It's like planting a seed, watching it sprout, but never watering it or protecting it from storms. That seed might grow for a moment, but won't survive the seasons. The same is true for wealth. Without careful stewardship, money slips through your fingers. No matter how much you start with, protection is the foundation. It's about shielding your assets from unnecessary risks. This means having insurance, having a legal structure to protect your investments, and avoiding foolish gambles. It's not about fear, it's about responsibility. I learned this lesson the hard way. Early success without protection left me vulnerable. But once I understood the importance of guarding what I'd built, I began to sleep easier at night, knowing my efforts weren't at risk from careless mistakes or unforeseen events. But protection alone isn't enough. Diversification is the second key. Never put all your eggs in one basket. It's a simple phrase, but one packed with wisdom. Spreading your investments across different assets, industries, and even geographies helps ensure that if one area suffers, others can hold steady. I've always believed that wealth is a garden with many plants. Some may flourish in one season, others in a different time. By diversifying, you give yourself a better chance for steady growth and resilience. Managing your wealth carefully is the third piece of this puzzle. Management means more than just watching your bank account. It's actively reviewing, adjusting, and planning for the future. It means understanding where your money is, how it's working for you, and making changes as life and markets evolve. One of the greatest lessons I've learned is that money management is a lifelong commitment. Just like tending a garden requires constant care, pruning, and nurturing, so too does your wealth need ongoing attention. I recall a time when I didn't pay enough attention to my finances after a big win. I thought the money would take care of itself. That success was automatic once you had wealth. But that mindset nearly cost me dearly. It was only when I took responsibility, set up regular reviews, sought advice, and stayed engaged with my financial affairs that I saw my wealth not only survive, but grow. Finishing rich also means thinking beyond yourself. It means planning for legacy, for your family, your community, and the values you want to pass on. Money is not just about comfort. It's about creating lasting impact. What kind of example do you want to leave? How can your careful management of wealth inspire and support others long after you're gone? These questions give purpose to the discipline of protecting and managing your resources. Let me be clear. Finishing rich requires patience. It requires resisting the temptation of flashy spending or risky shortcuts. It demands a mindset that values stability, consistency, and wisdom over quick thrills. But the rewards are profound. Financial peace, freedom to live on your terms, and a legacy that endures. So if you want to finish rich, start by protecting what you have. Diversify your assets to spread risk and build resilience. Manage your wealth carefully with regular attention and thoughtful planning. This is the path not just to success, but to lasting prosperity. Let me share a truth that many people learn only after losing what they work so hard to earn. If you don't have a plan for your money, someone else will. It's a simple reality. Without a clear vision and a budget, your hard-earned dollars will quietly slip through your fingers, ending up in the pockets of others who may not have your best interests at heart. Early in my journey, I was like many others, drifting through life without a clear financial plan. I thought if I just worked hard and earned a paycheck, everything else would take care of itself. But what I soon discovered is that money is not a passive player in your life. It's active. It flows, it moves, it seeks direction, and if you don't give it a destination, it will go wherever the path of least resistance leads, often toward expenses and people you never intended to support. Having a plan for your money starts with vision, knowing where you want to go. It's like setting a course on a map before you begin a journey. Without that, you might still move, but you'll likely end up somewhere you don't want to be. Your vision is what gives your money purpose. Are you saving for a home, planning for retirement, building a business, supporting your family? Whatever your goals, your money should be a tool that serves that vision, not a passenger on a runaway train. But vision alone isn't enough. You need a budget, a practical roadmap for your daily and monthly financial decisions. The budget is the discipline that keeps you honest, that prevents careless spending, and that ensures every dollar is working for you rather than against you. I remember early in my career how chaotic my finances were without a budget. Bills came due. Money vanished mysteriously. And I found myself stressed and uncertain. The moment I sat down, wrote out my income, expenses, and financial goals, and stuck to it, everything changed. Suddenly, I was in control. Not just reacting, but directing. When you have a budget, you're not just tracking your money, you're actively managing it. You decide where it goes before the month begins, not after you've spent most of it on things that don't bring you closer to your goals. This habit separates those who build wealth from those who chase it endlessly. It's the difference between being a guest in your financial house and being the one who holds the keys. Another important lesson I learned is that your financial plan must be flexible but firm. Life throws curveballs, unexpected expenses, job changes, opportunities, and your plan must adapt without losing sight of the big picture. It's not about being rigid, it's about having control. You decide the rules, and you adjust them when necessary, always with your vision in mind. Failing to plan means you're handing over control of your financial future to chance, to marketers, to credit card companies, and to every clever salesperson who wants a piece of your paycheck. They don't need a plan because their business thrives on your lack of one. They know how to capture the wandering dollar, but you don't have to be their victim. Having a clear money plan gives you power. It reduces stress because you know where your money is going and why. It builds confidence because each month you're taking deliberate steps toward your goals. It creates freedom because you're not chained to paycheck living or impulsive spending. So take this to heart. Make a plan for your money. Write it down. Create your vision and break it into manageable steps. Set your budget and stick to it with discipline. Review it regularly and adjust as life changes. When you do this, you no longer serve your money serves you. Because without a plan, your money won't grow. It will disappear. And that's a future none of us want. One of the most important lessons I've learned about building wealth is that it's not about how big your paycheck is, it's about the percentages. Wealth isn't made by the size of your income alone. It's created by what you do with what you have. You see, no matter how much you earn, if you spend every dollar, you'll never get ahead. But if you learn to live on less than you earn, even by a small percentage, and invest that surplus wisely, you're planting the seeds for financial freedom. I remember when I was just starting out, earning very little and feeling the pressure to keep up with those around me. It seemed impossible to save when every expense felt necessary. But I was taught that it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. I started by simply deciding to live on 70% of my income. That meant trimming back a little here, skipping an impulse buy there, and focusing on the long term rather than immediate gratification. It wasn't easy at first, but over time, those small sacrifices added up. The power comes from the miracle of compounding the idea that the money you invest today earns returns, and those returns earn returns themselves. It's like planting a tiny seed that grows into a mighty tree over years. Even if you start small, the key is consistency and patience. I've seen people who began saving and investing just 5% or 10% of their income slowly build wealth that gave them freedom and choices later in life. Too often, people focus on paychecks as if that's the measure of success. But wealth isn't a number on a paycheck, it's a percentage of what you save and invest over time. This mindset shift is crucial. When you start to think in percentages, you begin to see opportunities everywhere. You look at your expenses differently, ask yourself what you truly need versus what you want, and focus on building assets that work for you. Let me tell you, this approach gave me a sense of control and hope. It showed me that I didn't have to wait for a big raise or a windfall to start building wealth. No matter where you're starting from, you can take control by focusing on the percentage of income you save and invest. That small habit, repeated daily and monthly, is what separates those who merely earn from those who build lasting wealth. The beauty of building wealth through percentages is that it's scalable. As your income grows, the same principles apply. If you continue living below your means and investing the difference, your wealth grows faster and faster. But if you let your expenses rise to match every increase in income, you'll stay stuck in the same place, paycheck to paycheck. no matter how much you make. It's not about deprivation or hardship. It's about discipline and foresight. The freedom that comes from living on less than you earn and investing the rest is enormous. It means having a cushion in times of crisis, the ability to seize opportunities, and the peace of mind that your future is secure. It means you're no longer working for money. Money is working for you. So, focus on the percentages. Commit to saving a portion of your income, no matter how small it seems. Invest it wisely, and let the power of compounding work its magic. Over time, these small percentages will build a fortress of financial security, giving you the freedom to live life on your terms. Because wealth isn't built overnight or by big paychecks alone, it's built steadily, patiently, and wisely, 1% at a time. When it comes to building real wealth, one of the most important skills you can develop is learning the language of money. This isn't just about memorizing fancy terms or sounding knowledgeable at parties. It's about understanding how money really works so you can make smarter decisions every day. Think of it like this. If you want to build a house, you need to know the tools, materials, and blueprints. Money has its own language, and if you want to build lasting financial success, you must become fluent in it. Early in my life, I realized that not knowing this language left me at the mercy of others, advisors, bankers, and sometimes even friends, who spoke confidently about finances while I was lost. Words like equity, ROI, cash flow, assets, liabilities, and diversification used to sound like a foreign language. But as I took the time to study and understand these concepts, I found the power to take control of my financial destiny. Once these terms became second nature, I no longer needed to rely on someone else's opinion or advice without truly understanding what it meant. That's when I began making decisions with confidence. Equity, for example, is not just a word to throw around. It's the part of your investment or property that you actually own outright. Understanding equity helps you see how your wealth can grow without you having to constantly work for every dollar. If you have equity in a house, you're building wealth in a way that wages alone could never achieve. The same goes for business equity or shares in a company. When you grasp what equity really means, you start to appreciate how your money can work for you instead of you working for money. Then there's ROI, or return on investment, a critical measure that tells you how much your money is earning relative to what you put in. Whether you're investing in stocks, real estate, or even your own education, knowing how to calculate ROI keeps you focused on what truly matters, the results. Without understanding ROI, it's easy to get distracted by hype or misleading promises. But once you're fluent in this term, you can compare opportunities and make wise choices that grow your wealth sustainably. Cash flow is another key concept that often trips people up. It's simply the money coming in and going out. But understanding cash flow in depth allows you to see how your finances breathe and pulse. You might have a high income, but negative cash flow if your expenses are too great. And that's a dangerous place to be. By mastering the language of cash flow, you gain insight into the health of your financial situation and can take steps to improve it, ensuring money is always flowing in the right direction. As you continue to learn, terms like diversification, assets versus liabilities, compound interest, and passive income will all become familiar friends. The more you speak this language, the more confident you become in managing your money, spotting opportunities, and avoiding costly mistakes. It's like moving from being a tourist in a foreign country to becoming a fluent local who understands the culture, customs, and nuances that others miss. The truth is, financial literacy is a lifelong journey. No matter how much you know today, there's always more to learn. The world of money evolves constantly. New investment vehicles, tax laws, and economic changes. Staying curious, reading, asking questions, and applying what you learn will keep you ahead. Remember, wealth grows in the soil of continuous self-education. When you learn the language of money, you empower yourself to build wealth that lasts a lifetime. If you commit to mastering this language, you'll no longer be intimidated by financial discussions or decisions. Instead, you'll navigate your financial life with clarity, confidence, and control. And that's the foundation of lasting success. Building wealth is never a path paved solely with caution and comfort. It's a journey that demands courage, not reckless daring, but bold, calculated decisions that push you beyond the familiar and into the realm of possibility. When I first started, I was far from fearless. Like many, I held back, afraid to risk what little I had. But over time, I realized something vital. Wealth often responds to courage. It rewards those willing to step outside their comfort zones, to take thoughtful risks, and to face uncertainty head on. You see, courage isn't about ignoring risk. It's about understanding it and deciding that the potential reward is worth the challenge. Early in my career, I had a choice between the safety of a steady job and the uncertainty of starting my own business. It wasn't easy. The comfortable path beckoned, but I knew deep down that if I wanted more freedom, more impact, more growth, I had to be willing to take that leap. That decision changed everything. It opened doors I never imagined and taught me lessons I couldn't have learned otherwise. Taking calculated risks means doing your homework, understanding the potential downsides, and having a plan to manage them. It means not rushing blindly, but also not letting fear freeze you into inaction. I've seen too many people miss out on opportunities because they were paralyzed by what could go wrong rather than motivated by what could go right. Courage is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be, and crossing it requires embracing uncertainty with confidence. Sometimes courage means making tough choices that others won't make. It might mean investing in yourself when others think you're wasting time, or starting a new venture when the safest option is to stay put. It might even mean admitting when you're wrong and pivoting your strategy. Every step outside the comfort zone is a chance to grow, learn, and move closer to your goals. In my own journey, I've found that each bold move came with challenges, setbacks, doubts, and moments of fear. But it's precisely those moments that build resilience. When you face your fears and push forward anyway, you develop a strength that no setback can take away. That strength becomes a foundation for lasting wealth and success. Remember, the world rewards those who are willing to act. Opportunities don't often knock politely. They demand action, and that action requires courage. Whether it's negotiating a deal, investing in a new idea, or simply deciding to manage your money differently, boldness sets you apart from the crowd. So, if you want your wealth to grow, cultivate courage. Take that next step, even if it feels uncomfortable. Be willing to face risk with a plan and an open mind. Wealth responds to courage because courage is the signal that you believe in your future more than you fear your past. It's the spark that turns possibility into reality. Be bold. Step out. Your financial future is waiting on the other side of your courage. Life will always throw challenges your way. It's an inevitable part of the journey. But instead of wishing those challenges would be easier, or hoping for a stroke of luck to smooth the path, the real power lies in wishing to be better. True wealth doesn't come from avoiding difficulties. It comes from developing the strength, wisdom, and resilience to face them head on. Challenges are the greatest teachers in the school of life, especially when it comes to building wealth. In my early days, I often found myself frustrated by obstacles that seemed too big or unfair. I wanted things to be simpler, for opportunities to just fall into my lap. But over time, I realized that the universe doesn't hand out success as a gift. It rewards those who prepare themselves to handle bigger opportunities. When you grow in capacity, when you expand your skills, your mindset, and your discipline, you become ready for what once seemed impossible. I remember when I faced setbacks in business and personal finance. Instead of turning away from those moments, I leaned into them, asking myself what lesson I could learn. Each failure taught me something invaluable about decision-making, patience, and persistence. Instead of blaming circumstances or wishing for easier conditions, I focused on how I could improve. And that shift in thinking changed everything. You see, wishing to be better means investing in yourself, your knowledge, your emotional strength, and your habits, so that when opportunity knocks, you don't just answer the door, you're prepared to seize what's inside. It's about developing the capacity to handle bigger challenges so they don't overwhelm you, but instead become stepping stones. When you face a tough financial decision or a market downturn, instead of shrinking away, ask yourself, how can this make me stronger? What can I learn here? This mindset turns obstacles into growth. It transforms fear into confidence. And confidence is what attracts wealth. Luck might seem appealing, but it's unreliable. What's reliable is your own growth and preparedness. Wealth follows those who take responsibility for their development rather than waiting for circumstances to improve. It's like a muscle. The more you challenge yourself, the stronger you become. The challenges you face are your personal gym for building that strength. I've always believed that those who master themselves master their circumstances. By wishing to be better rather than wishing for ease, you embrace the reality that wealth is a result of personal evolution. Every challenge you overcome adds to your capacity to create, sustain, and grow wealth. So, don't waste time wishing the road was less rocky. Instead, build the vehicle strong enough to handle the bumps. Train yourself to be better every day, and you'll find that not only do the opportunities become bigger, but you also become the kind of person who can confidently walk through any door. Remember, wealth's greatest teachers are challenges. Embrace them, learn from them, grow because of them, and in doing so, you'll build not just riches, but lasting success. Time is the one asset you can never get back. Unlike money, once a moment passes, it's gone forever. That's why it's so important to understand that time is your most valuable asset, and how you spend it will determine the kind of life and wealth you create. I've learned over the years that managing your time wisely is just as critical, if not more so, than managing your money. When I look back at my journey, the moments that propelled me forward were those where I consciously chose to invest my time in activities that produced income or expanded my knowledge. Early on, I realized that time wasted on distractions, idle chatter, or meaningless entertainment was time lost forever. Time I could have spent building skills, developing ideas, or nurturing relationships that mattered. Wealth isn't just about dollars, it's about the harvest you reap from how you manage your most finite resource, time. Too many people fall into the trap of spending their days reacting to whatever comes their way, emails, social media, trivial concerns, without a plan or purpose. That's like trying to fill a bucket with holes in it. Instead, you have to shift your focus deliberately to income-producing and growth-focused activities. This means prioritizing tasks that align with your financial goals, personal development, and long-term vision. I often say that successful people are those who guard their time fiercely. They schedule their day around what matters most and say no to distractions that don't serve their purpose. It might mean setting aside time each morning to read a book that builds financial literacy, or dedicating hours to a side project that could become an asset. It might mean having meaningful conversations with mentors or strategizing your next investment move. Every minute spent on these activities compounds, just like money in the bank. I remember when I was working long hours in a job that barely paid the bills. I made a conscious decision to shift some of that time toward learning about business, personal development, and leadership. Those small-time investments became the foundation for my success. It wasn't about working harder, it was about working smarter and more intentionally. One practical way to respect your time is to create a daily routine, a ritual that sets the tone for productivity and growth. This helps eliminate decision fatigue and creates momentum. When you start your day with purpose, you protect your time from the endless distractions waiting to steal it away. Time management is also about balance. It's not just about grinding endlessly, but about spending time in ways that nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Taking care of your health, connecting with family, and allowing moments for rest are crucial to sustaining long-term wealth. Because if you burn out, you lose the ability to produce and enjoy the rewards. Ultimately, wealth is the harvest of wise time management. It's the result of choosing daily how you invest your most precious resource. When you shift from wasting time to focusing on income-generating growth activities, you create a cycle of progress. You build momentum, and that momentum becomes unstoppable. Remember, you don't get more time, you only get better at using the time you have. Spend it wisely, and you'll find that wealth follows not just in your bank account, but in your confidence, your opportunities, and your life's fulfillment. Discipline is a small weight you carry each day, but regret is a burden that can crush you for a lifetime. When I reflect on my journey and the lessons learned, one truth stands out above all else. The small, daily disciplines we commit to, whether saving money, investing wisely, or continually learning may seem light and even inconvenient in the moment, but they build the foundation of lasting wealth and peace of mind. On the other hand, neglecting those disciplines, procrastinating, or waiting for the perfect time only leads to a heavy load of regret that weighs far more than any effort would have. Early in my life, I understood the power of discipline not just in theory, but through experience. I was once broke, deeply in debt, with no clear path forward. It would have been easy to surrender to frustration or to wish for a lucky break. Instead, I chose to take responsibility for my financial future and to commit to simple habits, living below my means, saving a portion of every dollar, and investing in my own education. Those choices weren't always comfortable. There were sacrifices and temptations to spend impulsively. But those small daily actions gradually accumulated, and over time they created a momentum that transformed my life. Discipline feels like a light burden because it's made up of many tiny, manageable steps. It's the decision not to buy something unnecessary, the habit of setting aside a little money before spending, the commitment to read one lesson about money or business each day. These are not overwhelming tasks. Yet, when practiced consistently, they lead to enormous results. This is the essence of compound growth, not just in money, but in character and opportunity. I often hear people say, "I'll start saving or investing once I earn more," or "I don't have time to learn about finances right now." What they don't realize is that delaying those disciplines only magnifies regret later. When you look back years from now, wishing you had started earlier will weigh heavier than any effort it would have taken to begin. Regret is a crushing weight because it comes with the realization that the power to change your future was always in your hands, but the choice to act was postponed. The beauty of discipline is that it empowers you now. It gives you control over your money, your decisions, and your mindset. It's a daily reminder that you are the architect of your own life. When you show up for yourself consistently, even with small steps, you build trust in your own ability to succeed. That trust is invaluable and fuels further progress. I remember one mentor telling me that discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. That bridge may seem narrow and shaky at times, but crossing it every day leads you to your destination. The alternative is to stay stuck on the shore, weighed down by inaction and regret. So, embrace discipline with open arms, knowing that its weight is light compared to the heaviness of missed opportunities. Start today, save a little, invest a little, learn a little, and watch how those ounces of discipline compound into tons of success and freedom. The path to wealth and peace is built one disciplined choice at a time. Your philosophy shapes your future more than any external circumstance ever will. I've learned this from my own life and from watching countless others succeed or fail. Not because of luck or talent, but because of the mindset they embraced. Poverty and prosperity both begin in the mind. They are reflections of the beliefs we hold, the stories we tell ourselves, and the attitudes we choose to adopt every day. If you think like the wealthy, you will begin to act like the wealthy. And when your actions align with that mindset consistently, your life naturally transforms to reflect that prosperity. It starts with simple shifts in how you view money, opportunity, and your own worth. Wealth is not just a balance in the bank or an accumulation of assets. It is a way of thinking, a philosophy that guides every decision you make. In my early years, I was surrounded by limitations and doubts, both internal and external. But I realized quickly that those who achieved more were not necessarily smarter or luckier. They simply held a different philosophy. They believed in possibility, they valued discipline, and they understood that success was a process, not an event. So I chose to adopt their mindset and learn from their habits. This shift was not instantaneous, but over time it rewired how I approached challenges and opportunities. When your philosophy is one of abundance, you begin to see problems as opportunities to grow instead of insurmountable obstacles. You start focusing on solutions instead of excuses. This mindset makes you resilient in the face of setbacks because you understand that every failure is a lesson, every delay a chance to prepare better. Conversely, a poverty mindset convinces you that resources are scarce, that risk is to be avoided, and that others' success diminishes your own. Your philosophy also shapes how you manage your money. Wealthy thinking encourages you to save, invest, and plan, recognizing that every dollar has a purpose and potential. It steers you away from impulsive spending and toward building assets that serve you long term. This philosophy creates discipline because you see money as a tool, not a toy. Importantly, your philosophy influences how you relate to yourself and others. A mindset grounded in growth and responsibility leads to confidence, integrity, and generosity. It helps you build networks and relationships that elevate you. Wealth is as much about character as it is about cash. I encourage you to be intentional about your philosophy. Examine the beliefs you carry about money and success. Challenge those that limit you and replace them with empowering ideas. Read widely, surround yourself with positive influences, and constantly remind yourself that your future is created by the thoughts you nurture today. Remember, the seeds of prosperity are planted in the mind long before they appear in your bank account. If you cultivate a mindset of wealth, your actions will follow, your habits will align, and your life will begin to reflect the success you envision. Your philosophy shapes your future. Choose one that leads to abundance and watch how your world transforms. As we come to the close of this conversation, I want you to take a moment and truly absorb what we've explored together. The journey to financial freedom, success, and a fulfilled life isn't about magic or luck. It's about choices. Every day, you stand at a crossroads where your decisions either move you closer to your dreams or further away from them. The power to shape your future lies not in external circumstances, but within you in the way you think, the habits you build, and the actions you take. Remember, wealth is not a number in a bank account. It's a lifestyle, a mindset, and a continuous commitment to growth. It begins with small, consistent steps. You don't have to start with a fortune or wait for the perfect moment. The best time to begin is now. Start by managing your money wisely, learning relentlessly, and acting boldly. Protect what you build, plan carefully, and above all, believe that you are capable of creating a life of abundance. It's easy to fall into the trap of waiting for the right job, the right salary, the right time. But time waits for no one. Every day lost is an opportunity missed. Your time is your most valuable asset. Spend it on activities that bring you closer to your goals. Discipline yourself to grow your mind, your skills, and your finances. Trust that the small sacrifices you make today will compound into extraordinary rewards tomorrow. But knowledge alone is not enough. Knowledge without action is like a seed never planted. It cannot grow. So I challenge you to take action immediately. Don't just listen or read. Do something. Write down your financial goals. Create a budget and live within it. Save a portion of your income, no matter how small, and make it automatic. Learn one new thing about money every week and apply it. Find ways to make your money work for you by investing in yourself and creating assets that generate income even when you're not working. Be courageous. Step outside your comfort zone and take calculated risks. Growth happens when you push past fear and embrace challenges as opportunities to learn. And remember, success is not about avoiding failure, but about learning to rise stronger after every setback. Surround yourself with people who inspire you, who challenge you to be better, and who share your vision of success. Share your journey openly. Teach what you learn. Your mindset will not only shape your future, but influence those around you, creating a legacy that lasts beyond your own lifetime. I want you to know that I believe in your ability to change your life. You are the architect of your destiny. Your thoughts are the blueprints, your decisions the tools, and your consistent effort the foundation. With patience, persistence, and passion, there is no limit to what you can achieve. So now, make a decision. Decide to take control. Decide to grow. Decide to act. Pick one area of your financial life that needs your attention and commit to improving it this week. Track your progress, adjust your approach, and celebrate every small victory, because each step forward brings you closer to the freedom and fulfillment you deserve. The path won't always be easy, but the reward is worth it. Start today, and in time, you will look back and be grateful that you chose to take that first step. Your future is waiting. Build it with intention, live it with purpose, and never stop believing in the power of your own potential.